Yeah, this is Larry Krueger, and 49er fans know that here on Josh's Football Breakdowns, we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing.
Well, thank you so much for that tremendous intro, Larry. And what we saw on Sunday was the 49ers absolutely crushing a Pittsburgh Steelers team that had finished strong at the end of last season and was looking really good in the preseason this year. So how are the 49ers able to do this? How are they able to stop a team that had so much promise? And to find out the answer to that, we take a look at the film. The 49ers had the number one defense in the NFL last year, and they made their mark early and often in this game. Facing the first third down of the ball game, Kenny Pickett wants to go to his tight end, Pat Freiermuth, but he's covered. Unclear why he didn't go to his underneath option, Calvin Austin, who might have gotten the first down. In any event, it's the pressure of Aiyuk Armstead that flushes Kenny Pickett from the pocket. And then Drake Jackson cleans up the play. How did the Steelers deal with the 49ers' ferocious defensive line? They don't double team Nick Bosa. They start off double teaming Aiyuk Armstead. When Nick Bosa wins to the inside, James Daniels has to slide over to help, leaving Aiyuk Armstead one-on-one. And check out the vision of Drake Jackson, who sees Kenny Pickett escaping the pocket and gets off of his blocks to finish the play. It's great athleticism by Drake Jackson, who finished the day with 3 sacks for the 49ers. When the 49ers go on offense, the Steelers would set up in a zone, something we would see most of the day. But a staple of the Shanahan offense is putting zone defenders into conflict, and we see an example of this early. When Christian McCaffrey goes out for a pass, Holcomb has to pick him up, leaving Deebo Samuel. Roberts has his eyes all over this, but he's got to carry George Kittle through his zone just a little bit further. And Deebo Samuel doesn't run into his zone. Instead, he sits up, making the defender come to him, and by the time he does, it's too late. Deebo a little slow to get up, and here we see some good sportsmanship with the Steelers helping him up after the play. 49ers fans will tell you it's not that unusual to see Deebo get up slowly after a play, so it didn't surprise me when the 49ers went right back to him on this very next play. Let's see how they did it. The offensive line starts moving to their right, and you can see the Steelers defenders going with them. Now you can also see Brock Purdy is faking the handoff to Christian McCaffrey with his right hand, but really he's holding out the football for Deebo Samuel with his left hand. One more interesting thing about this play, the 49ers looked like they were going to block TJ Watt with Kyle Juszczyk. TJ Watt penetrated so quickly, Juszczyk wasn't able to get over there, and TJ Watt's just too fast. Fortunately for the 49ers, Deebo Samuel is even faster than TJ Watt. So at this point in the drive, the 49ers are facing a key 3rd down and 1. Who better to give the ball to than Christian McCaffrey in this situation? But the Steelers do a really good job of clogging up that line. But Christian McCaffrey has all the tools in the running back arsenal, and here you can see him crouching down because he is getting ready to try to leap over this Steelers defensive line. It's a valiant effort, but it falls short of the first down. Take another look. So now the 49ers are facing a key 4th down and 1 early in the ball game, and Shanahan decides to go for it. Why? Well, we can see here that the 49ers are at the 45-yard line. They're too far away to try for a field goal, and too close to punt. If they were on the other side of the 50-yard line, I don't think they would do this. But they are, as they say in the business, on the right side of the 50. so Shanahan decides to roll the dice. And here, the 49ers have a plan. You may have noticed George Kittle coming in motion. The Niners are going to use him to block Alex Highsmith, allowing Trent Williams to block to the inside. And this opens up a lane, allowing Kyle Juszczyk to be a lead blocker for Christian McCaffrey. But what's going on here? Just when it looked like Roberts was getting ready to fill the hole, we realized that George Kittle didn't block anybody. He's heading out for a pass route. This is a fake. And he comes wide open and Purdy gets him the football for a huge first down early in this ball game. Kyle Shanahan once again putting the ball in his young quarterback's hands on 4th down. Here we get a great look at Roberts mesmerized by the run fake, allowing George Kittle to just continue on with the pass route. And one last thing about this play. The 49ers do use Kyle Juszczyk to block Alex Highsmith, giving Brock Purdy time to throw this football. The 49ers have a promising drive going, and this time they do give the ball to Christian McCaffrey. But that doesn't necessarily mean the 49ers are done with the trickery. Once again, we see Kyle Juszczyk looking to act as a lead blocker on the play. When Holcomb runs over to close the door, this allows Brandon Aiyuk to pin him to the inside, allowing Christian McCaffrey to bounce to the outside. The 49ers are marching right down the field, and then Christian McCaffrey torches them again. Let's go back to the snap. Trent Williams and Aaron Banks block to the outside. Jake Brendel and Spencer Burford double team the nose tackle. And watch Christian McCaffrey. He heads straight upfield, and when Holcomb takes one step in that direction, it allows Christian McCaffrey to utilize the cutback lane. This has been a strong drive for Christian McCaffrey, and the 49ers exploit this with a fake handoff. Understandably, the defense reacts. And when Deebo Samuel cuts across the field, KZ goes with him, leaving Brandon Aiyuk one-on-one with Patrick Peterson. Touchdown 49ers, and what a great route by Brandon Aiyuk. Brock Purdy starts off looking for Deebo Samuel, but he's covered. So he resets his feet and comes over to Brandon Aiyuk, who's wide open. And even in the face of pressure, Brock Purdy stays calm and delivers a strike. Unclear why Peterson thought Aiyuk was going to the outside. He must have seen a tell. Now here we see an interesting moment on the extra point. We can see Jake Moody kind of standing around and the line kind of standing around, and Moody's looking at the line and the line's kind of looking at Moody, and we see the flag come out for delay of game. Moody said he was waiting for them to get started, and they said, no, you're the kicker. You're the guy who's got to start us off. And it just turned out to be one of those quirks of adjusting to a new team for Jake Moody. And he was promised that that situation will not occur again. 5 yards further back, he knocks through the extra point, and that's big for a kicker who has struggled in the preseason. And the 49ers take the lead 7-0. The Steelers still can't get much going, and Fred Warner blows up this play in the backfield. Let's take another look. One thing about Nick Bosa coming back to the team is he's an excellent run defender. So the Steelers decide that they're simply just going to try to run away from him. Of course, the 49ers know that that's a possibility, and here Fred Warner is prepared for the play. So the Steelers would end up facing a 3rd down and 5. Once again, they decide to double team Aiyuk Armstead, and they leave the running back in to help with pass protection. And that's a good idea because the 49ers have sent Fred Warner on the blitz. Now the defensive line does not get home for a sack on this play, but they do get a great push. Here Kenny Pickett still has a clean pocket and we can see him looking right at George Pickens, who's obviously covered. But I wonder if he looked into the second level at Allen Robinson. As the 49ers D-line continues to push, here, in my opinion, Kenny Pickett makes a bad decision and he comes over to Deontay Johnson. He's well covered, he slips on the play, Ward had great coverage anyway, and he comes down with the interception. A bad play for Kenny Pickett, and a huge play for the 49er defense. The 49ers take over, and we can see the Steelers have 5 men up at the line of scrimmage. But they're just going to rush 4. Holcomb is going to drop back and take away the route of George Kittle. And take a look at the stem of the route of Brandon Aiyuk. It looks like he's going deep. And we can see the safety giving him a lot of space on the play. Also, Levi Wallace is clearly set up to the outside. So Brandon Aiyuk says, fine, I'll go to the inside, taking the space the defense left behind. But a few plays later, you can see that the 49ers are facing a 3rd down and 14. They've been backed up by some penalties, and now they're on the 30-yard line, right on the edge of field goal range. As this play develops, it may look like Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle are wide open, but they're a long way from that 1st down marker. And of course, the Steelers defense knows this. And to make matters worse, that Steeler D-line is finally getting some push, and Brock Purdy is going to be forced to scramble. I thought he was simply just going to throw this ball away, but he ends up getting it to George Kittle, who gains a couple of yards on the play. And either way, it's a really good job by both Purdy and Kittle to preserve the field goal for the 49ers. Now here we get to a real interesting situation in the game when the Pittsburgh Steelers call a timeout in the 1st quarter. Were they trying to ice the kicker in the 1st quarter? I think it's possible. They knew that Jake Moody had struggled during the preseason, and this was going to be his first big field goal attempt in the NFL. When play resumes, we see that they get a great jump off the line. But there's sort of an obvious problem to this. You can see that the ball hasn't even been snapped. This is going to be offsides on the Steelers defense, meaning this never happened. But psychologically, the implication is clear. They are going to put maximum pressure on a kicker that they knew struggled in the preseason. Let's see if it works. Moody knocks it right through, and the 49ers go up 10-0. A great start for the young kicker. On the offensive side of the ball, we can see that the Steelers are once again facing a key 3rd down. Needing to get to the 42-yard line, Pickett could have thrown this ball to his big tight end, Pat Freiermuth. And I'm sure Deommodore Lenoir would have come over and laid a hit on the big tight end, and that would have been really interesting to see if he would have gotten that 1st down. But Pickett instead goes for the big play to Deontay Johnson, and this pass is way off the mark. Did the 49ers impact this throw? They played some games up front for sure. We see Dre Greenlaw faking like he's gonna blitz and then dropping back into coverage. Fred Warner, on the other hand, actually does blitz. And on the left side of the line, we see Nick Bosa coming to the inside and Aiyuk Armstead looping around to the outside on the stunt. And in my opinion, when Pickett saw Armstead coming around, he hurried to throw. If you were starting a team today, would you rather take Brock Purdy or Kenny Pickett? While Purdy continued executing in the face of pressure, the 49ers mounted another drive. Facing a 2nd down and 10, they hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, who continues carving up this Steelers defense. And we have to give credit to the offensive line. At the snap, it's George Kittle and Trent Williams blocking to the inside. Meanwhile, the 49ers pull Spencer Burford and Kyle Juszczyk around to block to the outside, opening up the lane for Christian McCaffrey. As the 49er offense continues to roll, the Steelers try experimenting to slow it down. They go into man coverage and leave one safety back deep. And we can clearly see which side of the field he's looking at. Levi Wallace, understandably, gives a lot of space to Brandon Aiyuk, who simply takes it. As Purdy continues to deal strikes, we move into the second quarter, but this is still the same drive. And the 49ers are facing 1st down and 15. It might look like they have several players open underneath, but the line to gain is the 24, so Brock Purdy wants more. And he decides he's going to look at Deebo Samuel. But what about that defender lurking right there? Well, that's not a corner. That's Cole Holcomb, the linebacker. And Deebo Samuel on a linebacker is a mismatch. Not much to analyze here. Patrick Peterson is lined up across from Brandon Aiyuk, and Brock Purdy likes the matchup. Contested catch, and Brandon Aiyuk comes down with it. Both feet inbounds. Touchdown 49ers, and San Francisco has blown this thing wide open. Oh my goodness. What a catch. And I'm going to keep showing these extra points because Jake Moody was money in this game. 3 field goals, 3 extra points. That's 12 points scored. That's the same number of points Brandon Aiyuk scored. And the 49ers would get the ball back. Patrick Peterson tries to figure out something, so here he gets physical with Brandon Aiyuk. And this time it's the Steelers' D-line turn to get a good push up the middle. But Brock Purdy steps up in the pocket, keeps his eyes downfield, and Patrick Peterson just can't stay with Brandon Aiyuk. Now, we're going to go backwards here because I want to show you guys something. All right, the pass is complete. But at the end of the play, take a look up top. You can see Juwan Jennings and a Steeler defender kind of getting tangled up. Well, the Steeler defender would retaliate, and the officials, they usually catch the second guy, right? And that looks like Levi Wallace, and he's hit with a 15-yard personal foul penalty that would actually be enforced half the distance to the goal. So this was a huge play for the 49er offense and a big negative play for the Steelers defense. So just that quickly, the 49ers are threatening again, but this time TJ Watt finally gets by Colton McKivitz. Brock Purdy tries to escape, sack, fumble, but watch Purdy reach behind him and secure this football to his body, once again preserving the field goal opportunity for the 49ers. Very impressive. And here we get a great shot, and there it is. You can see he has possession of the football, and he's being touched by TJ Watt. He is down by contact. 49er football. Once again, Moody knocks it through, and if you're keeping track, the 49ers go up 20-0 on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh my goodness. And here they have the ball in an end of half situation, 3 minutes to go, trying to get some points before the half. The Steelers continue mixing things up, rushing with their front four, but this time they also send a blitz off the edge, and he's a free runner. And we know that when Brock Purdy's in trouble, he likes to escape back and to his left. Surely defenses would have adapted to this by now, right? And he keeps his eyes downfield once again, and check out Deebo Samuel sitting up, giving his quarterback somewhere to go with the football. And Purdy throws the ball away from the defender, and Deebo makes a great catch. Now we're going to move forward a few plays, and to me this is a really interesting situation at the end of the half. You can see that it's 3rd and 10, and it looks like the Steelers have one timeout remaining. The 49ers are on the 37-yard line, and there's 1:50 left to go in the half. So there's a lot that Shanahan has to think about here. He would like to score some points at the end of the half. He needs a few more yards for his field goal try. He doesn't want to leave a lot of time for the Steelers. And he's in a low percentage situation, 3rd and long. So here he decides to run the ball. And it looked like the Steelers had jumped off sides, giving the 49ers what would be a 3rd and 5. Now it makes sense to throw a pass and try to pick up those 5 yards, as it's a much higher percentage play. But the Steelers were actually awarded a timeout just before the snap of the football, meaning that the 49ers still faced 3rd and 10 and the Steelers would have no timeouts left. Well, this is still a running situation, especially now that the Steelers can't stop the clock. But I think Shanahan had already decided in his head that he was going to throw a pass, so he calls a pass play. And the 49ers aren't really set. They have to snap the ball quickly, and they false start. So now it's 3rd and 15. Now you definitely need to run the ball. Remember, the Steelers cannot stop the clock. Take some time off that clock and live with the results of the play. And I think Shanahan went wrong here as he calls another pass. Now, why didn't Brock Purdy throw it to Juwan Jennings? Well, remember, they still have a long way to go to get to that 1st down. And remember, it's 3rd down. He could have gotten closer for that field goal, though, so that's an interesting thought. But the truth is, Brock Purdy is simply reading the other side of the field. He's just making a high-low read to Kittle. 1st down, check down. Neither one of them are open. Shandon Sullivan gets past the pass protection of Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy has to scramble, and then he has to either throw this ball away or run out of bounds. The result for either is the same. Both take them out of field goal range. Both stop the clock. A bad sequence of events for the 49ers. So the Niners punt to the Steelers, and Pittsburgh is backed up, but they do have an opportunity here. But facing 3rd and 1 and backed up, they just decide to run the ball. And it looks like Najee Harris has a lane. But that lane closes up pretty quick in the NFL. And when Dre Greenlaw runs over to clog up that hole, Najee Harris bounces to the outside. 24 yards on the carry, and then Diamador Lenore hits him way out of bounds. That would be another 15 yards, and the Steelers are in business. Gotta be smarter than that. It reminds me of at the end of the 49ers Seahawks playoff game last year when the Niners hit Geno Smith late, giving them an opportunity right at the end of the half. And look at the field position the Steelers have. The 49ers try to salvage the situation, sending an all-out blitz, leaving just one safety back deep, meaning Ambry Thomas has to give a lot of space to Deontay Johnson down at the bottom. And that's the correct thing. The worst thing Thomas could do in this situation is give up a long bonehead touchdown right before the end of the half. Deontay Johnson takes the space the defense left behind. And he gets out of bounds to stop the clock. The Steelers are marching here at the end of the half. A few plays later, the Steelers are threatening. And here, Kenny Pickett is looking for his big tight end, Pat Freiermuth. And Dre Greenlaw is blanketed all over him, so Pickett throws the ball away from the defender. And Greenlaw has great coverage on Freiermuth, but a great throw will beat great coverage. It's a cascade of errors for the 49ers, and the Steelers took advantage of it. And they tie. No, they don't tie. But they do get on the board, making somewhat of a game of it, going into the half with the score 49ers 20, Steelers 7. But the 49ers would strike back early in the third quarter, thanks to a dazzling Christian McCaffrey play. All right, we're in the third quarter, and the Steelers went into the half with some momentum. So how can San Francisco turn the tide? It's simple. You go out and you score a touchdown. And the 49ers start this drive off with a fake to Christian McCaffrey. And this draws in the defense. Now the middle of the field looks a lot better for Deebo Samuel. And this defender would like to go with him. But the 49ers have also run Ray McCloud into his zone. And Brock Purdy gets Deebo Samuel the football. Let's go back to the snap. The fake was effective, but at the last second, Brock Purdy sees our old friend Quan Alexander heading over to maybe go for an interception here. Purdy stays calm and just pulls down the football and then gets the ball to Deebo in the second window. Very impressive. And on the very next play, Christian McCaffrey dazzles. Brandon Aiyuk's blocking was outstanding in this game, and here is another example. Boom. And here Ray McCloud does a good job of not blocking this defender in the back, which would be a penalty. He simply waits for his opportunity and then delivers the block that gets Christian McCaffrey across the goal line. Touchdown 49ers, are you kidding me? 65 yards for CMC. It looked like Quan was going to have a shot initially, but then Jake Brendel gets off his block and takes him out of the play. Christian McCaffrey, you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him. And that spin move reminded me a lot of this play from Frank Gore about 10 years ago. Boom, nice block at the end too. With the 49ers back up by 20, score of 27-7, Brock Purdy continues executing in the face of pressure. Here, facing a key 3rd down and 8, we get a good look of the Steelers' defense clearly confused and not ready. And by rule, the 49er offense does not have to wait for them. And even with tremendous pressure bearing down on him, Brock Purdy spots the bust in coverage and gets the football to Brandon Aiyuk. Facing another third down on this drive, it would come to an end when TJ Watt is able to get past Colton McKivitz again and sacks Brock Purdy for a loss. And the good news for Colton McKivitz is TJ Watt is going to be one of the best pass rushers he's going to face all year long. Let's move ahead. Here the Steelers are facing 4th down and 4, but they're trying to punch this thing in for a touchdown. Once again, this pass protection looks pretty good for Kenny Pickett. And I'm not sure what he's seeing here. It looks like he's expecting Pat Freiermuth to sit up, but instead Freiermuth continues on into the end zone, perhaps trying to draw a flag, and the pass falls incomplete. All right, we're moving ahead to the 4th quarter now, where the 49ers are facing a 3rd down and 4. And I really wanted to show you guys this play because coming off of elbow surgery, perhaps there was some questions about Brock Purdy's arm strength. Could he get this ball from just inside the far hash all the way outside of the numbers? And the answer is yes. With 10 minutes to go, the Steelers need some big chunk plays to try to get anything going. Once again, I'm not really sure what Kenny Pickett's doing here. He's looking at Connor Hayward, the other tight end, and perhaps he sees that Fred Warner's back is turned on the play. He throws it up, but Warner does a good job of getting his head around, tips this ball up, and it's intercepted by Talanoa Hufanga. Great play by Hufanga, but here I think he tries to do a little too much. He tries to go for the rugby play and lateral this ball to Tashawn Gibson. And remember, this ball must travel backwards. Now Gibson is behind Hufanga, but he can't throw this ball to where he is. He has to throw this ball to where he's going to be. The ball travels forward. That's a 5 yard from the spot of the foul. So the 49ers still get the ball just 5 yards back from where that illegal forward lateral took place. Incidentally, that probably gave all the coaches a heart attack too. They never want you to lateral that football. All right, here Brock Purdy doesn't like what he sees, but it does appear as if he has a lane, so he steps up. Keeping his eyes downfield, he wants to run, but he's a long way from that line to gain. But watch when he decides to actually take off and do it. He makes the defender commit first, and only then goes for the yardage. Brock Purdy, 17 yards on the scramble, and he celebrates after. Deceptively athletic. Jake Moody would close out the scoring with a field goal, making the score 30-7 with 5 minutes left in the game, and that would pretty much do it. I'll show you one more thing on 4th and 5 here. The Steelers fighting to the bitter end. Interestingly enough, the 49ers turn Calvin Austin loose here. They know that it's 4th down for the Steelers, so the defense decides to defend the line to gain instead. And outside of that long bomb to Austin on 4th down, there's nowhere else for Pickett to go with the football. And this time it's Javon Hargrave, the 49ers' big free agent acquisition from Philadelphia, who comes up with the sack to end the game. '49ers beat the Steelers in Week 1, 30-7, and that's going to do it for this week on Josh's Football Breakdowns. But be sure to tune in Friday to hear my thoughts on this game, featuring your comments. Leave your comments below, and they might get featured on the Friday show. And as always, I want to just put out an extra special, tremendous thanks for everybody who supported the channel last season. Let's take a look at everybody one more time as we start a new season here. Thank you guys so much. It's so incredible. It means so much to me. And I can't wait to discuss football with you guys on Friday. and I will see you guys then.